Welcome back to another Sister Scoot, where we are breaking down this week's big Marvel news coming around the corner. I guess we'll get right into it and say Deadpool 3's second trailer has dropped, and it is a hit everywhere.
Ye Yeah, I mean, I am so excited. It is the only real MCU, like official MCU movie coming out this year, and I have a feeling we are going to be absolutely in for a treat. It looks so fun. I'm excited to just see all of what comes with it. I think it's going to have me watching the X-Men movies just to prepare. Like there are so many things that I think it's going to bring together in this movie, just seeing from the trailer. And I'm just excited he gets to truly be a part of the MCU for the first time because the first two are great, but adding in that added layer of the MCU, I think it's just going to take it to a whole new level.
Yeah, I agree, but I also just have to say this second trailer pretty much has shown me I feel like I know nothing about this movie. Because if you guys all remember, the first one dropped during the Super Bowl. It was a huge thing. Actually, it officially dropped during the Super Bowl, but you didn't actually watch it on TV. It was like a weird little 10-second spot, and then they were like, go watch it on YouTube, which was a little weird.
But
Um be-
also very financially efficient. And then they broke YouTube records. So it's also smart.
oh,
So
for
honestly,
sure.
go Marvel.
For sure. It's just kind of weird because I think since 2020, we've had some sort. Well, actually, before that, pretty much they always have a big Super Bowl spot where they drop a big trailer. So it was kind of weird that like they didn't drop it in that way. But either way, not important to this conversation. Regardless, that first one had us all like, whoa, the TVA and all this. And obviously, they hinted at Wolverine. They didn't really go into him too much. Then the second one is all Wolverine, essentially, which at this point we know it's Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not Deadpool 3. So it makes sense that we're seeing more of him. But I'm honestly like, I'm not sure what we're going to watch. I'm really not sure what the premise of this movie is right now.
Yeah, I think the thing that intrigued me the most was that like what version of Wolverine are we seeing, right? Because like he talks about his universe being destroyed or his whole world being destroyed. So is that the universe we saw in Logan? I'm not sure. But then I was
I
watching
think they
some
said it's not.
well, right, and that's one way to look at it. Nobody really is going to know for sure. I mean, think about how often trailers are misleading, right? Like we're not going to
But I'm pretty sure
actually
like
know.
Ryan Reynolds said they're not touching that Logan universe.
But I think isn't that the same universe as the like X-Men movies? I'm pretty
Well,
sure it's
all
just
the
the future
X-Men
of
are dead
those.
though. So
Right,
clearly
because it's
like
so far in the future because if he's old because remember he's already like a couple hundred years old, right? Like the dude has been around forever. He ages super slowly. And so it's definitely like way down the road. The only person who's still alive is Charles, who is super super old at that point. So it's definitely like many years after the events of the X-Men movies that we all know of, like the OG 2000s and however they relate to the new ones. Honestly don't remember. So I'm not closing the idea that it could be the Wolverine, like that whole universe, because trailers are misleading. Actors lie to us all the time. Like, I'm not dealing with like saying definitively one way or another until I'm walking out of the theater. But I think the other thing that was really interesting, I was reading some articles and it was talking about how in, I believe, She Hulk, they mentioned a man fighting with claws in a bar brawl. So he's like, that's in the MCU. Like, that's in 616. It's in a newspaper in the MCU. And there were other little things that were kind of hinting at what version of Logan we were going to see. And I think there's going to be a lot for us to do research on as we go into our, pre Deadpool era, whether it's, watching those original X-Men movies or just also some really prominent Wolverine storylines that I think we need to look into because there are probably a million different options and a million different versions that this could be. And I'm not ready to put a line in the sand, but I am just really, really excited.
yeah, I mean, I'm going to go off of what they're saying for now just cuz I trust Ryan Reynolds. In him we trust, right? But the other thing that I just want to talk about quickly that's related to this movie, and we're not it's not technically one of our topics for the night, but I just want to put it out there and y'all will know why I'm putting it out there. But it's also rumored that Channing Tatum, who was officially casted in like 2014 to play Gambit, he was supposed to have his own spin-off kind of thing. And for those of you who know, Gambit's almost in none of the X-Men movies. Like, I think he makes like a maybe 3-minute long appearance in one of them, and that's it. Channing Tatum was casted to do it. They were supposed to do this movie and never got greenlit fully to like go forward, and it never happened. He's rumored to be in this movie as Gambit, which would be kind of interesting, kind of exciting. I don't know how I feel yet, mainly because Gambit or Channing Tatum in 2014 is different than Channing Tatum in 2024. So we'll say that. But just want to throw that out there too, because that's kind of attached to this movie. As of right now, we see Deadpool and we see Wolverine, but there are a lot of mutants that look like they could be coming. We've got a dead Ant-Man in one of these universes. Like, there's a lot of crap that's going to happen, and we're really excited for this.
Yeah, and I think, there's a million things that I want to say about the Channing Tatum rumor, but the one thing that I will say, because we are running low on time already, is that it is the most Deadpool thing to do to bring in an actor from a killed movie to play the part for a few
Oh,
minute
yeah.
cameo and to absolutely troll the fact that that movie was never made. And I can
Yeah.
literally picture the scene in my head. I know exactly how it's going to go in that Deadpool style. And I just think it's the funniest, most brilliant fourth wall break that they could do here. And I am all for it. I hope that really does happen because I think it would just add so much fun to the movie. And it's already going to be fun, but just that little extra like level up of like, hey, we know it's meta and we're going to tease you about this one too. I love that about Deadpool. And I think that's just so on brand.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be great. But we got to get moving. We have spent way too much time already on this first topic. T, I'm going to let you take away the second topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this one's super interesting because we've seen this happen a couple of times where toys have actually kind of revealed what characters may be in movies. And so in a Happy Meal promo, it has been potentially revealed that Diamondback is going to be in Cap 4. So this is Rachel Leighton's Diamondback character, which might be a villain. She's actually a member of the Serpent Society in the comics, so that's also a really interesting thing. But the last thing I'll say here, just in the interest of time, is what could be really fascinating is that she might end up being a romantic interest for Sam, which is cool because we really haven't seen that for his character yet. So I would love to see how that plays out, especially with that added nuance of them maybe being on opposite sides of the battle.
Yeah, that's definitely what grabbed my attention was the possibility of a love interest. I think Marvel, when they do romance, they do it well, and when they don't, they kind of just shy away from it greatly. We have our iconic couples for sure. Don't get me wrong. But then we also have our superheroes that I feel like they put in a box and they're like, never,
Yeah,
ever are
literally.
you allowed to have a single love interest, or at least not one that we're actually going to have you devote yourself to and like actually see a relationship with. Um, the first Captain America is a pretty good example of that, I think. Say what you will. But I would love to see Sam finally kind of get a love interest. I think that's part of his character we haven't seen. I think it would also be pretty interesting just because, again, it adds some character depth that's new. And if she's villain turned good, which is her comic book story, that could also be cool. You guys all know I love a good anti hero or a good switch sider, or whatever you want to call them. So I'm intrigued if she's in the movie. Again, it's an if. We'll see. But I'll also let Taylor take away our last topic, which is dealing with the Black Knight.
Yeah, so this is kind of a non-update, but y'all remember, if this is going back sometime, Kit Harington is actually in the MCU, and he plays this guy called Dane Whitman, who is basically going to become the Black Knight, or Dane Whitman is the Black Knight in the comics, is one of the Black Knights. I think there's multiple people who don the mantle. He is one. And he's basically said, I don't remember why or what he was doing, but he's come out and said, hey, I haven't heard anything. I don't think they're gonna, I don't know what they're doing with this character. So are we looking at another Mordo situation? I certainly hope not. I think the character, from what little I know about him, is interesting. And I hate when plot threads dangle like that. And for you to do another, by you I mean Marvel, to do another end credit like that and then just let the character just kind of rot in purgatory is really frustrating. So hopefully he's just playing coy, but that's kind of our non-update update on Black Knight.
Yeah, I think this one's kind of rough because for those of you who haven't been on the internet in the past like 2 months, it's pretty much been said there isn't going to be a second Eternals, which biggest eye
annoying.
roll I could ever give, because to all the haters out there, I don't know why you don't like this movie. I really don't. I love Eternals. Like, it is one of my favorite, like, post phase 1 through 3 movies that has come out. Everybody wants Marvel to do a different direction. They did, and it was amazing, but everybody
It was
crapped
so
on it.
good.
Yeah, I don't get it. The characters were amazing. You also brought Harry Styles in. And then, like, what's going to happen here? You want to talk about end credits? There's one that's going to dangle. So that has been rumored. I don't know if it was confirmed, but it has been said it's that one. And there were like 2 others, I think, that they were saying, oh, we said we were going to do a sequel or a second season, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So I'm not shocked to hear that, like, the whole Black Knight storyline isn't necessarily moving forward. But let's not forget, it was Blade's voice we hear at the end in that end credit. Blade does have a movie that's going to be coming out next year. So the possibility still stands that they just have to sit on it for a little bit. I'm hoping it doesn't turn out like the Mordo one, mainly because I think the second end credit in Eternals might turn out like the Mordo one with the way this is going. So let's hope that Eternals has at least one thing that comes to fruition.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, awesome. Then with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of Sister Scoop. We are a little over, but what else is new? As always, make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channel so you guys can continue watching our Sister Scoop episodes. And of course, our podcast, so you're listening to all our full reactions to everything coming out in Marvel, our breakdowns, you name it, we're doing it. So go ahead and give us a follow and come back next week for another Sister Scoop.